Occasionally, yes, but that one, again, that particular show was going on during the time period in which, whenever an anime got caught up with the source material, instead of them waiting, they
Are you
You're live.
serious? No.
Yeah, I'm serious.
No, come back.
Did you not say anything?
No, I didn't. I thought about playing some copyrighted music.
How dare you? I had to cut out the copyrighted music in the last one, because I think it's still editing as we speak. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Anime4ALL podcast. I'm your host, the Game Hunter, along with Jock, and we were talking about, well, at least I was talking about the Cybertruck madness. Off camera.
We had a good long chat about how ugly the Cybertruck is.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one. I told just people, like, they either look at me like I'm weird, because I guess they don't understand what I'm talking about, or whatever. It's just, ah. And then apparently I saw a design of what could be possibly the new semi truck design, and I didn't know, I didn't think anything metallic could be that ugly.
It's pretty ugly. I still hold that it's aerodynamic. I know you don't believe so, but I think it's.
I refuse to believe that Cybertruck is aerodynamic. It's got too many corners on it.
But I mean, compared to a regular truck, it's super aerodynamic.
I guess we were talking about pickup trucks, I guess, yeah. I really don't like the way the Cybertruck looks, as I'm getting on this tangent again, but it's just be knowing to me, if you want to buy a Tesla and go for it, it's your money. It's one thing to have a car coming down the highway at like 60 miles per hour where you can't hear it. It's really bad when it's a truck, because people who drive a truck have a certain way of driving. It's get out of the way. And it's usually okay if you can hear the engine roaring. But imagine a truck going that fast with a driver like that when there is no sound coming off the vehicle whatsoever. You may hear a humming, but like I highly doubt you'd be able to hear it inside your car. Because my SUV hums, I can barely hear it unless I'm actually outside the vehicle. These cars are freaking quiet. You have to have a hybrid. Okay.
My car's got 310,000 miles on it. It makes all sorts of noise now.
Yeah, how is your car's doors? Are they still closing?
It opens and closes, but it makes a lot of noise while it's doing it.
Like an old man trying to sit down in a deli?
It makes loud metallic popping noises and stuff like that when I go to close it. And creaking. And
your car's gonna die, and it's just gonna happen. It's like it's nothing you can do about it.
It's like, have you ever seen the movie The Blues Brothers?
I can't say I have.
I picture it going like the Bluesmobile does at the end of the movie, where it just falls apart in like a pile of dust, basically.
I've seen that then. That's just apparently pop culture.
They get out of the car like after like riding the car really, really hard through a high-speed chase across like a state, and they close the door, and the act of closing the door makes the car like tumble into a pile of dust, basically, like 50,000 parts. And then
Yeah,
they
then
just kind of
I've seen that in other stuff. So yeah, I've seen the way cars fall apart like that.
yeah, it's kind of like that. I feel like that's what's going to happen to my car when it finally goes. It's just everything's going to go at once, and it's going to be like, I'm done. I'm freaking
I
done.
mean, Japanese ingenuity.
Stick a fork in me.
Jeez. I mean, Japanese ingenuity. These cars last forever. Their Toyotas on the road right now. They were like new in 1999, still running.
Mm-hmm.
All right, enough of my disdain for Elon Musk. We're here to review episode 16 of their Rurouni Kenshin anime. And boy, this is going on longer than I anticipated.
Yeah.
God help us.
Cut to the chase, right? No pun intended.
I mean, they're about to. Literally this episode, but this episode is a continuation of last episode. We cut back to, we cut back to pretty much after Rurouni Kenshin states his piece. The swordsman's name, who it completely eludes me.
Rajuta?
Yeah, Rajuta. After Rurouni Kenshin states his piece of Rajuta about how he's not going to join him in his crusade, Rajuta then jumps in for a fight with him, or at least I guess testing of his might against Kenshin, and he's using the one move that he used to split the floor in half in the last dojo that he was in, and Kenshin's like dodging every single blade.
He takes out the bridge, he takes out a tree, he cuts a boulder in half. That poor guy's property is like getting wrecked.
I don't really think he cares. Well, maybe he does. I have no idea. The guy's rich. I want to bring something
He's
to.
rich, but I mean, what? I'm rich and all, but look what you just did to my highly ornate, fancy bridge.
But the guy really didn't care. He's only in it for the money. I want to point out that this entire episode, I love the sound effect of the sword. You know, the sword slashes and whatnot. You hear like this, like every time that he's using his Yuzuna technique, and then his also his second technique. I just love the way that apparently they have, I guess, how when the metal makes sound, or the iron, the sword itself, like when it makes contact with something, you can hear it make a sound. It was actually really nice. Wasn't anticipating that. And I'm sure that was in the last episode. I don't really remember, but there was definitely a sound effect playing whenever Rajuta was using his sword technique. But as he's destroying the property around him, Kenshin's dodging every single hit, and then Rajuta makes a stance, and then makes it so that Kenshin can't, I guess, obviously dodge his next attack, and Kenshin uses the blunt side of his sword and breaks his sword. And I repeated that scene over and over again just to see what side of the freaking blade he used, but I could never see anything but the blunt side with the way that sword was like being swung by Kenshin. So my conclusion is that he broke his sword with the blunt side of his blade.
That was my interpretation too.
It pretty much ends Rajuta's rampage, and Rajuta just backs off, says that like
Time signature for that, by the way, if anyone wants to look it up, is 356. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to, if there's anyone listening that's curious, wants to go look that up, it's 356 or so.
No problem. And then Rajuta leaves and says he'll come back for him later. Even though Rajuta had a second blade on his belt that he did inside the drawer, which is kind of weird. I will say this guy, he's definitely a competent enough swordsman that he's kind of dangerous. So he isn't all talk. I'll say that much.
He's not that dangerous though. I mean, he beat him twice now.
I mean, to a normal swordsman, I think he's really dangerous.
To a normal swordsman, but to Kenshin, he's not as dangerous as some of his other foes have been.
I mean, we haven't really seen the true might of this guy, but we'll see it next episode. But
I'd say like a few of Aoshi's, so far from what we've seen, a few of Aoshi's men could possibly hold their own against him.
well, I mean, it depends on how fast and quick he is. We haven't really seen what he's truly capable of yet. I mean, unless we have, and he'll just show that again next episode. I don't really know. I feel like he's holding on to a couple things, because he does make mention that he near the end of this episode that he was reading ancient texts and learning techniques from these ancient texts. Uh, with that word, with that phrase, ancient text of sword styles, I was like, okay, they're bringing that up now, and they even make mention that Kenshin might be using one. Uh, which is oh shoot, which is crazy. I hope that didn't pick up on the mic. I accidentally hit my mic. I'm
I
sorry.
heard it, but it wasn't very loud.
Interesting. This mic's pretty sensitive to other sounds. Okay. He walks off, and then it's like the team Kenshin comes out of the bushes, and they're like, okay, well he's gone. I guess like everything's been settled for right now.
I
Sanosuke,
guess you'll find
Karu, and
Kami
Yahiko
tomorrow.
attempt to go home, but then they realize that they haven't. Well, they realize that Sanosuke still had like Yotaro tied to a tree and gagged him. Um, After they ungag him and untie him to a tree, Kenshin just with the confused look on his face, like, you tied him and gagged him to a tree? Karu just throws Sonosuke underneath the bus.
Yeah.
But I look how confused he was. Just like, you did that? Why'd you do that?
It is kind of the same thing to say at that point.
Is it really saying? I mean, this kid was like, he obviously was gonna make things easy. But
What was he gonna do? Like distract the fight, get involved? Like,
I mean, possibly. Well, I mean, not distract, more like get himself injured, which we'll talk about later. After they do all that, Yotaro is still like making a fit about everything that happened, and then Yahiko says like, if you want to fight me one on one, I'll like you can come by the dojo and we'll do it. And cut to the next scene. It's apparently I guess at night, maybe around midnight, and Yotaro brings his bamboozle with him and challenges Yahiko to a fight. And Yahiko is like, "Are you crazy? Do you know what time it is?" He's like, "You didn't mention the time."
he came first thing in the morning to try to catch him off guard.
Which you learn soon after Yahiko accepts his challenge, and like he's apparently never been taught by Rujuta how to even hold a sword, which is kind of like seeds more about what kind of person Rajuta is. Haru offers to teach him how to hold a sword and practice a couple of practice swings. After that, Kaoru offers to train him at the dojo. Yotaro goes back to his sensei, quote unquote sensei, Rajuta to ask for permission to train under at this dojo. He says you can, and as Yotaro is happily bowing to his sensei, quote unquote. We see Rajuta give a sneaky sneer of a smile, and this is pretty much where I've said, yeah, I take back everything I said last episode about you being a nice guy. Specifically after what we learned later on. I was like, you're not as decent of a dude as I thought you were. This is not good for business. Also, Rajuta brings up like apparently the main reason why
before Rajuta gives him permission though, Yutaro reveals something that I think is kind of interesting. He says he wants to become a great swordsman because he wants to put his father to shame, because his father ditched being a samurai to become a merchant.
No, that happens after when they come back from the hot pot, doesn't it?
No, that happens at 9:14, and the permission is at 10:40.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. You're right. When he after he's eating rice balls with everybody. I also want to point out too, as Karu is training Yotaro, we see Yahiko in the background pouting, and I'm like, he's jealous. I was laughing so hardcore. I was laughing so much because that scene was hilarious to me. It's
Yutaro was kind of getting like a little bit flustered by Karoe's like touch with his hands and stuff like that, and then like Yahiko gets like a little jealous of that too. It sounded like,
because I mean, Karu was training him, and now she's taking her attention off of him and training this new kid, who apparently also is shown to have potential. Like we're seeing this happen again, where there's a kid that has potential for a to become a samurai, and he comes from a family of samurai. Um, I guess it kind of makes sense that his father used to be a samurai, which is how he's able to sell good swords. I guess it kind of makes sense, like, his father used to be a samurai. I thought it was kind of weird that it's like, huh, he's a merchant now. Because I guess it makes sense too. It's like, he needs to be able to make money. He has a family to feed, so it makes sense why he gave it up.
Mm-hmm. He got quite
It's
wealthy off of it too, which I think even made Utaro even more ticked off. And plus, I mean, if we're talking about Japanese here, he's putting on a fake smile and bowing and being pleasing people from the West, which is even more insulting, I think, in some ways, because the West is kind of responsible for the loss of this like type of life. You know what I mean?
well, I mean, it's all just an example of what happens after the modernization that's happening. Well, not modern westernization that's happening in the East. Um, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. He would definitely hold some hate because being a samurai was a when that was is a well to him is a honorable way of living, and now it's like they bring up that being a samurai doesn't really pay the bills now. It's like, huh, samurai not being paid anymore. And at least that whole I think you brought up in the first episode we reviewed, or maybe the second episode we were reviewing, that like samurai, like it was a honorable position and they got a lot of benefits, but after a certain point, that all got taken away. Also, with the sword
Yeah.
ban too, it makes it hard to carry a sword. So a lot of things have happened outside of the control of the samurai to make them not necessary. And we have Rajuta, who probably of all the flaws that he has, probably is genuinely concerned about swords, the samurai in general, but he's going about it in a very bad way. Because at the very beginning of this episode, we see the sensei in his mind like looking at Rajuta, saying like he's a very his sight is very clouded. You can't really see much past it. That kind of shows that he's a one track mind of this moment right now. Like he is set on making making his sword style the one sword style, and like bringing samurai back into glory.
I didn't understand the clouded eyes, but personally, because he was able to read a lot of things in a lot of people's eyes, and I just never got
I mean,
in
I
my
think the
mind.
idea where just his eyes are clouded is because his eye he's Arjuta can't see past his goal. Like Arjuta is literally just one track minded. Usually,
Like he's
a lot of
blinded by his
times,
own, he's blinded by his own goal. You mean?
yeah, his sight is quite literally clouded. I mean, it's not like I mean the guy can read a lot about people, but I'm guessing if you're hiding something in your eyes or whatever. I mean, eyes reveal a lot about people, from my understanding, from people who are able to read people just by their eyesight. So it's
Yeah.
quite possible one of things, but like I'm guessing because Rajutsu is a one track mind right now, his vision is clouded, and I want to bring this swords play back to where it once was versus where it's going. But then you have Cairo over here who's like telling Yotaro as she's training him, like, you think this is fun, right? And then Yotaro brings the fact that he's not really trying to. It's all right for him to play right now, but he wants to be serious eventually.
Right.
Like his side is clouded by his desire to want to bring shame to his father. Um,
Rather than bring honor to his father, like that's why Utaro Kenshin mentions that Utaro's like Yahiko, except the exact opposite, because Yahiko wants to bring honor to his family through his sword play, and Utaro wants to bring shame to his family through sword play.
both are very gifted. Probably one more than the other at the moment. I feel like Yahiko was kind of surprised with the I guess the sword face, the face hit. The guy like Yotaro was constantly like landing a hit on him, and he couldn't do a dang thing about it.
Yeah, he was showing extreme potential very quickly.
I mean, it makes sense that there be some kids who are descended from samurai.
Yeah.
But after Yotaro joins to to train for one day, they Koro takes them everybody to the hot pot. Apparently Yahiko's working that day too, which is kind of weird.
He's got to serve them. Yeah.
But yeah, as they're eating food, Yotaro's trying to like egg Yahiko on. Subume shows up. Yahiko yells at her. Yotaro bees a gentleman and hands her like I guess like a handkerchief just to continue to egg Yahiko on. I'm just sitting there like, I know Yahiko's upset, but it's not like he's losing Subume. He's already taken her heart an episode prior to this, 2 episodes ago. Like it's not like he's losing her. She's already got a crush on him. Not that he knows or cares right now, but it's like, yeah. Yahiko goes off and guess takes care of another table, and then Yutaro kind of spills his heart about everything. Like how he wants to ultimately he wants to get stronger for the sake of showing his father. After all that plays out, and they have their food. It's like nighttime, and they're all walking home. And this is the part of the episode we finally learned about like the true. Well, we learned about that Yotaro like really respects Reijuta for saving him when they got ambushed by a couple of bandits, thieves trying to take their money or whatever. And his father decides to disgrace himself by lowering to his knees and then bowing, pleading for his life. The thieves want Yotaro to do the same thing. He's not willing to. They pick him up, about to beat him up, for Yojutsu to come out of nowhere and save them. And they all panic and run away. Then after all this, after he explains all that, how he has so much respect for him, and Yotaro asks Kenshin to fight him honorably. And after all this, because we learned that he really does respect him a lot, Reijuta comes out of nowhere and tries to sneak attack Kenshin, and it doesn't work.
And he plays dirty. He kicks dirt to blind him. Comes in with a sneak attack, goes full on. And even now, Yutaro's like, this must be some sort of mistake. Like that was just like introductory swing or something like that. And it takes him he's still in complete denial as long as he can until he's actually attacked, basically, to believe in Reijuta. So it's really crappy, how betrayed he was by him. And he even openly admits that he never take him as an apprentice, that he tolerated him only because it was his father taking care of him and financing him, and that the attack in the first place was staged so that he could get in that position with the father.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's happening now is all sucky. Kenshin's able to block all his first strikes, and then Reijuta says that this is my ace in my sleeve, I'm gonna use it anyway. And he swings really hard at Kenshin. I guess it's like a really strong wind blast that can cut. He launches it at Kenshin. Kenshin manages to block out his arm, only for it to hit Yutaro in the background and sever his tendons, as we actually learned at the end of the episode. Because after that happens, he's like, you cut your own student. Yagos yells at him, and he's like, don't worry, as long as it didn't cut any vital organs, he'll be fine. He doesn't really show any compassion. Clearly, after he staged their being jumped, which is kind of interesting that Reijuta just picked, I guess, a random passerby, or hoping that this guy could fund his ambitions. Because we learn later on he's using to get funding so he can get his operation going. Because apparently you need cash to do whatever he's trying to do, whatever that is. Not really specific, what his he gives a name for something, and he constantly uses the name, but I completely forgot the name of what he's saying he's trying to do. And he says it's a shame that he might lose his funding after he hurt, his investor's child. Again, not really showing any emotion, any sympathy at all. And after this is happening, as he's talking to Kenshin, his tone changes, and he says, I'm going to take him to the doctor right now. After that, he looks straight at him. He's like, I will fight you then. And we see Kenshin's, real serious eyes, piercing anger, stare back at him.
And Sanosuke is like, oh shit, man, you just got yourself owned. You in so much trouble now, bitch.
Pretty much Kenshin, Yahiko, and Koro take Yotaro to a doctor. And then Sonosuke is like, that is not a good look to earn from Kenshin. And then we cut away to Megumi and where she's staying because she's the doctor of the show.
Rajuda shows pretty good stamina being hit on the head with a full-on shot from Kenshin, by the way, and just stepping back a few steps and being like a little disoriented for a second.
I mean,
So
he's no amateur. We can tell he's definitely.
yeah, not everybody can take a shot like that and just kind of like step it off a couple times. You know what I mean? Like he gets hit like that and acknowledges the hit, but he's like not especially injured.
Maybe Kichi was trying to like blow him back or something like that. You never know like, what Kichi's like trying to do.
Yeah.
He's also shocked that the fact that Kitchen fights with a reverse blade. This also shocked him out earlier too. It's like that's a reverse blade. It's like, huh. It's still kind of shocking that he managed to break his sword, but I'm guessing maybe the speed at which Kenshin was swinging his blade was probably what like helped with the power to break his blade. Because a big guy like that would be holding onto his blade like dear life, but hey, I guess semantics. We cut away to the doctor. Megumi says like, "What happened to this boy? I never seen an injury like that. Like apparently it was like it was a cut that was like so precise that there was no blood at all." And unfortunately, we learn after that, Koro like begs for information, and we learn that his tendons have been cut. The doctor says that he will never be able to hold a sword again, and that's where the episode ends. Yotura is passed out in another room, and his arm has been bandaged up, and he may not be able to hold the sword with that hand again.
Why do you think Kenshin blocked it with his arm, and he didn't get his arm cut to the tendon, but as it flew past him, it cut the other kid?
Well, he had his sword in his hand, so maybe it would redirect that, because it wasn't like the weird thing with that guy's techniques.
He intentionally had his hand out, like he could have dodged completely, but he put his hand out.
Yotaro's behind it.
Right. That's what I mean. But like he somehow survived without taking very serious damage. He just got one of those like extremely severe looking light cuts that he gets every single time he gets in a fight.
Maybe Kitchen didn't take a direct blow from the sword swing. Maybe it was at a point. Maybe it was at a point where the swords. I guess maybe the sword was just ending and the sword blow was about to begin. So possibly maybe. Or Kenshin like is able to like he's able to like flex his muscles in a way to like maybe like bring more blood to wherever his arm was. I don't know. It's possible that you can control where your blood flow is. It's not impossible, but
or some sort of defensive technique that he knew from his ancient sword art or something. He definitely put his hand there to stop the blow from killing Yutaro, even though Yutaro was injured.
I feel like Yotaro's still gonna be like what's the word looking for?
Sanosuke lost his sword and became a brawler, so he lost one of his arms. He could still become a something, we just don't know what.
It's not that. I don't want to use the word subservient, like crap, what was the word I'm looking for? Loyal to him, I feel like. I mean, we saw this during this entire encounter, even though like Yotaro could see with his own eyes, Stockholm syndrome, in the worst way possible.
Yutaro's like definitely looking for someone honorable to idolize, and now that his like current idol, like that he was loyal to, has been proven to be a villain, I think he might latch on to Kenshin after that.
I don't know. I feel like he'll still be attached to Raijuta for a little bit. I feel like as much as like
how could you possibly do it there, Raijuta? Like,
but here's the thing though.
As thoroughly as you possibly could.
But here's the thing though. Like here's the thing. Regardless of what actually happened, Raijuta did save them. Regardless, and I'm pretty sure the kid probably didn't hear that, or he wasn't comprehending a lot of it. Like I don't think this kid, because he already like doesn't like his old man. He thinks his old man is a disrespectful, dishonorable samurai. He wants to learn from him to be able to dishonor him even further. Like and like so far, like Raijuta in his eyes saved his life regardless of what the circumstances what the circumstance was. Like Kenshin has really done nothing but take that take all that from him, like take the rug underneath his feet. Kenshin hasn't really given him anything, like at all. Like, you know, like all he's really just says, like, you know, maybe you should look at Swords play a different way. He wasn't really receptive to that. Rajuta has given him a little bit more, even if it was under, you know, under like false pretenses. And I'm not saying this is smart. I'm just saying he's a kid, and like I feel like, as you say, he's looking for someone to idolize. He won't give up immediately on his idol, regardless of even like him getting cut, because he's probably looking at it like this. He's probably looking at it like this. He probably didn't mean to cut me. It was an accident. Like I see a situation where he's gonna go back to the fight with Rajuta. He's probably gonna beg Kenshin to take him with him, and he wants to be there for the fight. And like he'll make a decision based on whoever wins. I foresee that's probably what's gonna happen. Regardless, this is smart. Regardless, this is smart. He is a kid, and I think he idolizes him too much to the point where I think he's probably gonna foresee that this sword swing was an accident. Because again, this entire situation, this entire encounter, he says that the sword swing that he was greeting, like he didn't mean to kick. He wasn't being dishonorable, kicking dirt into Kenshin's eyes. Like he was defending everything he was doing. He got knocked out when he got hit with that sword technique. He wasn't even present for a lot of for what happened after his second sword technique came out. I foresee this kid's gonna still be on his side at least until the end of the fight. I feel this is just a situation of a kid looking for a father figure that he honestly doesn't know. You know, he only sees Rajusa as that right now. He hasn't really gotten too much from those guys other than just the sword play, you know, playing around with sword or whatever. While yes, they've taught him how to fight, you know, and how to defend themselves and use a sword correctly, that's not much to him. You know, he's looking for something else that apparently Rajusa gave him. Kenshin hasn't given that to him yet. Not yet.
We'll see. He took a shot for him.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna see it like that. It's gonna probably see it as that like you shouldn't have you moved in the way or something like that. It's gonna be something he's gonna see it. He's gonna rationalize it somehow. Even I can't rationalize it. I'm pretty sure he's gonna rationalize it. I'm still thinking that he's a kid in his own mind. He's like looking up to Rajuta. He doesn't think Rajuta, what he did was something he did on purpose. I'm willing to bet a spoiler what's gonna happen.
Well, Rajuta's not gonna. If he goes to talk to Rajuta, Rajuta's already said, "All right, well, I hit the kid, so I can't use his father anymore." So Rajuta's
well, yeah, bro.
not...
Yutaro's been knocked out though, so he didn't hear any of that.
I know, but what I'm saying is Rajuta's not going to pretend he's his master anymore.
Well, man, I think he's gonna do that. I'm just saying that for right now, Yutaro might still be loyal to him regardless. I've seen this type of situation in anime where it doesn't make any sense. You will literally attack by this character. Why are you still defending them? Obviously, there's like there's some loyalty to him there that this kid probably does not want to shake off. I think this kid thinks that whatever he did was like accidental. It's gonna probably take, you know, Rajuta saying it to his face, like legitimately just saying it to his face and doing it again. It's one of those, I don't think it's gonna. It's as simple as like it happened to him once. He learned his lesson. I don't think that's the case.
I think he's going to be changed. I think he's going to be moved into the little clan here, and then
yeah, you're having too much faith for this kid. I have absolutely zero faith in this kid.
I have faith in them because the other characters in the show have faith in them, and they've been proven to have good taste and things like that.
I'm not saying he's not gonna change. I'm just saying for right now, I really do think when he wakes up from his injury, he's gonna want to judge it for himself. He's gonna want to, because he asked Kenshin to fight him fairly. So I bet that's what he's gonna use as a ruler for like if what really happened was the truth. If Rajuta keeps on fighting dishonorably, but Kenshin keeps fighting him honorably, I suspect that's probably what's gonna change his mind. I don't think this interaction here, even if he got his tendons severed, I don't think he sees that as something that happened on purpose. I think he's still in the mindset that it was an accident, or you know, he's gung-ho or something. He's gonna rationalize it in that kid way of an abusive relationship of an older superior that he looked up to. I don't think Yutaro is gonna come out of this right now, this very minute, gonna come out of this as saying I'm a changed person. It's probably gonna take Kenshin fighting him honorably and not being tricky, whatever, and him winning the fight honorably was probably gonna change Yotaro's opinion. But right now, this fight, everything that happened, Yotaro's mind has not been changed. That is my opinion.
My opinion is the opposite. He's enough even before then with the ambush and the kicking of the dirt and everything else, and how honorably Kenshin dealt with the whole fight.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
And
This is not something I know. I'm just saying that in my gut feeling. I've seen this interaction in anime before where you think it's obvious that this character should know better, but they don't. From all age groups. They just don't. And this, by the way, is an old show. Just got a remake. So I would not be surprised if that happens again.
mm-hmm.
I am positive. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I am positive that's what's going to happen. Like, I don't think this kid has learned his lesson yet. You would think, based on his getting his arm cut, he'll learn it. Like, I don't think so. He already defended him when he did a sneak attack behind him. He immediately defended him there. And he defended him again with the dirt thing. These are actions to me that would have been like a red flag, but apparently not a red flag to him. So I don't think the arm getting cut's a red flag. Because even just like, disbarring all of this stuff, the stuff prior to all this, you know, before they met Kenshin, like Rajuta, even if he was being nice to him, you know, because he was a money bag, a check, you know, he's still gonna look at that stuff fondly because he was nice to him, he treated him with respect, stuff like that. We don't really know like the relationship with those two before everything that happened, but from the sounds of it, Rajuta treated him really well, even if he was just like as he was saying, just like he was just withstanding him, even if he was annoying.
Yeah, but he didn't teach him anything, like not even how to hold a sword.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Yotaro didn't seem to care all that much. I mean, I'm just saying. For me, it's like his mindset is telling me that this isn't somebody that learns a lesson quick. Like that's just to me. You know, like he doesn't seem that smart to me to know like in the sense of like he's not like street smart. He doesn't know like when he's being lied to and stuff like that. Even if he is being told straight up in his face that he's being lied to. Sometimes people like that don't learn a lesson until they get hit twice maybe, or something really life-threatening happens to him. And I'm not saying that the tendon thing on his arm isn't life-threatening, but it's like he can still go on and live a life without swinging a sword. He's a son of a merchant, so he has like a future ahead of him. But
oh, what if he becomes a merchant after all this?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's possible.
That would be sort of a happy ending for him if he came to his senses and decided that his father wasn't so bad after all. Got some lesson like that from something that develops in the future, and then goes off to become a merchant, because he can do that with one hand.
But so saying, I don't think. You may think he's gonna come out of this thing, he's gonna be a changed kid. I don't think so. It's just I've seen the situation too many times when it just should have been obvious, and it's like for the reason this character is just not budging. Like they're obstinate until something else happens.
Yeah.
But in my honest opinion, he's gonna come out of this saying that he didn't. My master didn't want to hurt me. I'm gonna go ask him directly. And then the encounter happens and he gets slapped in the face possibly. It's probably one of those situations where I feel that's gonna happen next. I feel like he's the type of character that would happen with. Like if I'm being honest, I don't want that to happen, but I've seen the situation too many dang times. It aggravates me every time. It's like, why are you going back to that abusive relationship? He don't love you.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
He's not that into you.
It's like, why are you doing this? He doesn't like you at all. He's already called you annoying. I know that was that happened when you were knocked out, but still. But yeah, I just like I don't. I hope I'm wrong. You know, hey, I'd say I'm wrong if this that doesn't what happened. And like I'll say you're right. You know, you're right to have faith in the kid. I just didn't because he was already so like, let me wash your toes. Like let me gather information for you, so you don't have to go that yourself. You can just sit down underneath a tree. Like I mean, it's one of those things. I feel like he's too loyal to him for even his arm him being injured to like change his mind.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see on this one. I don't think you're gonna change my mind.
And that's fine. We can be like this is legitimate. Like I truly believe. I don't think he's gonna be changed when he comes out of this coma. Or whatever. I really don't. It just like why like he already showed you his true colors when he snuck up on Kenshin. If you didn't believe then, you're not gonna believe even after an injury like this. At least that's my stance. He could probably get a brace maybe for that arm. Maybe a
I
brace
think
could
it's
help.
more like nerve and tendons are slashed, so he's not going to be able to use his hand.
They didn't just say his tendons. I didn't think they say anything about his nerves, did they?
Yeah, they did. The nerves and tendons are all slashed. 2057.
Okay. Yeah, fit performance. And that's not what I wanted to read. Oh yeah, nerves and tendons are both slight. Okay. You know what else could be this be one of those like really weird like 360 or 180 turns? Like the doctor maybe misread his injuries and he really didn't get those slashes. Maybe they were just like injured enough to the point where they could just heal over
These two
time.
doctors aren't going to be wrong, dude.
I mean, you say that, but I'm
Reaching so far at this point. These are like two of the best doctors in like Japan.
I was gonna say only the two only doctors in Japan, but
Probably not the two only doctors, but two of the best doctors, right? Megumi is definitely very talented, and the old doctor's
but
been
I
teaching
think
her.
she didn't look at him. I don't think did she? I mean, she said that the cut was very deep and there was no blood, but I don't think that meant she looked at the like the actual injury itself, like thoroughly
Well,
anyway.
at the very least, the old doctor did, or he wouldn't say that.
I mean, I'm not saying that like he doesn't believe what he's saying, but I'm saying some doctors have given diagnosis in real life that apparently a week, 2 weeks later, they actually were mistaken.
Why would you build that into a story?
Suspense, intrigue, piss people off.
Oh my god, you are like a pit bull sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna be serious. I mean, yeah, the problem the problem is I wouldn't care otherwise if it wasn't for the cat eye remark triggering something in my brain. I don't understand why that particular word or phrase triggered something in my brain. I don't really 100% understand or even remember what it was, but I know it's like that sounds familiar. Like I don't know
I don't.
why. I don't know why
I
that
don't think
that
that they're
phrase.
not gonna. I don't think that they're not going to do something with him. Like I think they're going to do something with this kid, like in the show, and maybe he still become finds a way to become a fighter. I just don't think it's going to be with that hand.
I guess I don't know. It seems like to me it's like I mean most swords men people use a sword with one hand with two hands. Granted, I'm not like this is an anime. This isn't really real. It's possible that maybe this kid becomes like one of the best swordsmen ever with just one hand. I don't know. But like the cat eyes is what triggered me. And that's why I'm stuck on. Like I just don't know why that phrase is what. Maybe something does happen later on, and like he comes back, but he looks different, and it's like he calls him cat eyes, like cat. Like I mean, I hope something happens that brings back this moment. Honestly, I just don't know. Like something. I know I've watched the show before, the original cut, but that's bothering me a lot. We already couldn't tell. I'm unnecessarily bothered by it, and it's like I'm trying to figure out what it is. But I'm digging my brain, and I can't find anything. Right now, I'm just digging through all kinds of knowledge, garbage in my brain right now, and I've found nothing. Talk about this cup that apparently has nothing in it. I don't know why there's a cup in this. I think I'm going to end it here before I dive into an even further iceberg. See you guys next week for a new episode. We're going to review episode 17. I think it's called settling the score. I guess is the final bit of this really small arc. Surprisingly small. It went on a lot longer than I was anticipating. I guess it kind of makes sense why the arc that I was anticipating isn't going to be this season. But hey, waiting is. I was trying to come up with something poignant to say, but I had nothing to say. I also want to bring up too. I didn't get a chance to say this before, but like Rajutsu did bring up the guy that that gets credited for the Art of War. I thought that was kind of funny with Sun Tzu about getting to know your enemies. When he was like when he was letting Yotaro like train with Kaoru and everything. What was that?
Nothing.
Seriously, what'd you say?
I said use, and I was going to say something, but I don't know what it is now.
But it ended on Sun Tzu apparently. So you guys.
Oh, Sun Tzu, yeah, like Sun Tzu, the Art of War. I was just correcting your pronunciation. I think Sun Tzu.
And then
Now I think I might be wrong, so don't listen to me. I read the book. I read The Art of War. It's not that long of a book. It's actually very short and sweet.
I mean, when you're trying to make the Art of War, you want it to be short and sweet.
Yeah, I guess so. It could be something that you thought was complicated and nuanced, but it was an audiobook, and it was I got it as an audiobook, and it was a fairly short one.
I guess we'll leave on that recommendation of Doc to listen to the Art of War. Don't do that if you don't want to. Don't do it if you don't want to.
No, do it if you don't want to.
You heard it here, folks. He wants you to listen to it if you don't want to. See you guys next week.
See you later, everybody.